At this stage, the Pakistani government is taking Benazir's imminent arrival as coolly as it can. They can't be under any illusions as to the significance of the return to the political stage of another Bhutto. I asked the Pakistani Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Alam, how free she'll be on her return.
She will be as free as any other political leader in Pakistan. And the Prime Minister and the President have said that political leaders are free to hold political rallies and meetings, engage in political activities. And they have been holding such meetings all over Pakistan. So I see no reason why Ms. Bhutto will not be allowed to do the same thing.
Is Ms. Bhutto free, say, to campaign to get the constitution itself changed?
Well, she's free to campaign so long there is no law and order situation, no violation of any rules and regulations or laws of the country. She will be free to campaign for her political ideas and political manifesto.
Would that include freedom to criticize General Zia, despite the fact that there is a clause saying that there must be no defamation of the armed forces?
Well, already many political leaders are criticizing President Zia, and the constitution that has been introduced, the political processes that are taking place in Pakistan are being openly criticized by political leaders, very, very openly.
But how open does the government now maintain that the political situation in Pakistan is? How much room for real political activity is there for somebody like Ms. Bhutto?
Oh, plenty of room for political activities. If you were only to go and see the political meetings that have been taking place in Pakistan recently, you will be amazed. I mean, even the press is entirely free these days and is writing all sorts of things very, very openly against government policies about the constitution and all. And whatever they like to say, they are saying things, and nobody is stopping them.
So you think that she can go back on Thursday knowing that she will be safe as a citizen of Pakistan?
Yes, the President has said that she would be. The Prime Minister has said that there will be no restriction on her. And they have said it again and again, that so long there is no violation of the existing laws in Pakistan, she will have no problem.
Benazir Bhutto, how far do you accept those assurances?
It's been very reassuring to hear the words of the embassy official. But as they say, seeing is believing. I hope for the sake of my country and for democracy in my country that I am not arrested.
Do you have serious doubts about your own personal safety?
Security is a factor. We have been receiving disturbing news, but I think also highlighting the security factor has perhaps taken the edge off it.
In what sense?
Well, I think it will be more difficult for them to do something now that we have already spoken about it. Secondly, the party has also made arrangements for my security, and I think that in the present mood, if the regime were to do anything to me, there'd be a terrible law and order situation in the country, especially if they were to take my life, because the crowd is in a very happy mood, it's in a very excited mood, a hopeful mood. And if it turns into anger and grief, then it could be very negative.
But let me put it bluntly, you are not expecting to suffer the fate of Benigno Aquino.
I hope that the fate of Mrs. Aquino awaits me.
You say you'll operate constitutionally, but what does that mean, given that you obviously must try to use the power and support of the crowds in the streets to express the power of the PPP?
Well, there are two different ways of using people's power. One is through agitation and by launching a frontal attack on the military regime, by taking to the streets through demonstrations and processions and making sure that a law and order situation occurs so the regime is under threat. We are not going to do that. I have said in my statements repeatedly, and all People's Party workers have been instructed, that they must maintain law and order. We were kept out of the election process last year. We don't consider that the assembly is representative, but my party does think that this assembly and this Prime Minister could play an effective role, and we would like to create the climate for him to play that effective role in transferring democracy.
Now, the question of the role of your own party, as we said, you have actually submitted your accounts, but you are challenging the legality of the Political Parties Act. What are the particular clauses that you find so objectionable? What would you like relaxed?
The most obnoxious part is that the election commissioner, who's a nominee of General Zia, can at any time disband a political party, and all the office bearers will be arrested, banned from participation in elections for 7 years. So the party says that if we don't register, at least we can still contest as independents. But if we do register, we are at the mercy of our opponents.
So at the moment your tactic is likely to be, and in fact Mr. Alam said there was no time limit for registration. Therefore that you do have a period in which you can act freely politically before you decide whether to register or not.
By submitting our accounts, we are technically registered, but we will have to comply with other regulations to take part as a party in elections. We can still take part as independents.
Do you accept that you have a particular responsibility not to provoke the army into snuffing out that little bit of civilian democracy that now exists in Pakistan?
I don't think there is a civilian democracy. We are trying to create the myth of a civilian democracy because my party believes that it's better not to have this large gulf between the army and the political parties, that if there is a civilian structure, whatever its weaknesses, it can act as a stepping stone. We want to give the structure the confidence to go ahead and act as a stepping stone and make a place for itself in history.
Can I just get this clear, therefore, you are prepared to work, if you can, within even the limited civilian structures which now exist?
Well, I'm going back to Pakistan, and if Mr. Juneja's government really did get 60% of the support, and if it is durable, I'm prepared to respect that because I'm a Democrat. But if the people of the country come to the rallies of the Pakistan People's Party and make a demand for immediate elections, then I hope the Prime Minister, if he's a Democrat, will respect that too.
But you don't want a confrontation which is going to bring the army down, not just on your back, but on the country's back as well?
Most certainly not. The army confrontation is not in the interest of Mr. Junejo, it's not in the interest of the civilians, and the civilians should try and stick together.
So it is a cautious Benazir Bhutto which goes back?
It's a delicate situation which requires caution.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.